I think I'm a good person to judge what makes a perfect love story because, I don't know, I've gotten to play some characters that have been really wrought over their own love. I think playing Christian in Moulin Rouge is kind of a perfect lead into this, as I'm pining for the love every night and literally kind of go to the depths of my soul to get there. Hey, I'm Tveit, and these are my top 5 favorite pop culture couples of all time. I think a good and memorable love story has to come down to kind of where it starts, whatever adversity they encounter, and then kind of where it ends or doesn't end. My first couple, I think a lot of people saw this movie. It's Jack and Rose from Titanic. It's a classic example of, you know, kind of a kid from nowhere with no money and this like very rich woman, and they fall in love, and of course they're never supposed to be together because two people of different classes can't be together, and they kind of overcome all of that to find each other in the end, all while this ship is sinking, sadly. But then of course Rose, you know, says she's not gonna let go and lets go, so that's not really cool. I think there was absolutely room on that pallet door for Jack. She could have slid over. But while they had it real good. Well, let's just stay with Leo, why don't we? Why don't we go Romeo and Juliet? Kind of classic love story that has spawned countless stage adaptations. West Side Story is Romeo and Juliet. We do a little bit of Romeo and Juliet with Christian and Satine. But you know, that's one where they're a bit young, and I think if they just had a little bit better communication, maybe they could have avoided both of them dying. But again, while it was good, it was real good. Jumping to television here, I think the obvious one a lot of people would say is Ross and Rachel. But I'm actually gonna go Chandler Monica in the Friends world. I think Ross and Rachel ran into some trouble when they were on a little break, or not a break. But Chandler and Monica, you know, they were friends first, and it really changed and evolved, and they knew each other, and by the end, I think they really found, you know, a really great love between them that started as friendship and almost adversaries. I can't say that word. But there's something about that, you know, right? You start as friends and then it becomes something else and you kind of get way wrapped up into it before you know, and I think theirs is a great example of that. I'm gonna give Joey some relationship advice here. I think he just needs to maybe think outside of himself a little bit. This is one that, you know, as a child of the 80s and 90s and a teenager of the late 90s and early 2000s, Noah and ALLIE in The Notebook, I think, is a wonderful example of a love story in our modern pop culture. You know, the way that movie is structured too, you kind of see, you know, how they're together, how they're ripped apart, how they kind of find each other, maybe they don't, but then you find out that obviously it's the older Noah telling the older ALLIE, who's suffering from Alzheimer's, their love story. And I think that that's something, you know, it's really a tremendous way that it all turns around, and you see that these people really fought for each other and ended up, you know, together in the end and kind of having this other love, you know, later in life as it developed. I just think that's a very sappy answer, but I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous story, the two of them. And finally, my last, and I think probably favorite pop culture love story has to be Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan in When Harry Met Sally. That movie, I think, when it came out and since, it's my opinion that every rom-com, every comedy about love is just trying to be Harry Met Sally because they got it right from the beginning. And what's great about that is they kind of start loathing each other, and that loathing passion but appreciation turns into a deep love and bond. And you know, sometimes you realize it's the people who can kind of really push your buttons, those are the ones that are the closest and love you most. So I know that most of the couples that I mentioned don't make it, but they also had some different circumstances. I mean, you know, one got on a boat that was brand new and supposed to be indestructible, and never say something's indestructible because that only means it's not gonna work. But some of the others, you know, I think communication and making time for one another, that's the formula to long-lasting love. Take it from ALLIE and Noah. And avoid poison. Yeah, no poison, and maybe just like if you're gonna take poison, check that the other person didn't.